Blue Origin just unveiled an upgraded New Glenn that's shaking up the space race. The new 9x4 variant packs 9 BE-4 engines on the booster and 4 BE-3U engines on the upper stage, a massive jump from the current 7 and 2 setup. Standing nearly as tall as Starship at around 120 to 123 meters, it's targeting 70 tons to orbit with an 8.7-meter fairing. Can this actually threaten SpaceX's dominance, or is it just catching up to where Starship already is? Welcome to Space Update 24 Hours. Let's dive right in. SpaceX has spent years moving at a pace that makes traditional aerospace companies look like they're standing still. While others celebrate a single upgrade per decade, Starship evolves almost annually. Bigger engines, taller structures, smarter designs. The 2025 era belonged to Starship version 2, but that chapter's already closing. Version 3 is coming in 2026, and it's bringing some serious firepower. So, what makes this timing so critical for SpaceX right now? Starship V3 isn't just another incremental update. We're talking about a rocket designed to haul 200 tons to low Earth orbit in reusable mode, potentially 300 tons if flown expendable. The full stack reaches 124.1 meters tall, still holding the record as the largest rocket ever built. 33 Raptor 3 engines on the Super Heavy booster alone generate between 18.7 and 19.8 million pounds of thrust. Add 6 more Raptor 3s on the upper stage, pushing 3.3 million pounds, and you've got a beast that reshapes what's possible in spaceflight. But does sheer power guarantee victory when a competitor just made a major move? Blue Origin's announcement came through a simple post on X, but the implications hit hard. They're phasing in major upgrades to New Glenn, starting with NG-3, designed to increase payload performance, launch cadence, and reliability. The details revealed a transformation that's impossible to ignore. The booster jumps from 7 BE-4 engines to 9. The upper stage goes from 2 BE-3U engines to 4. They're stretching the fuel tanks and extending the overall length. When you stack it all up, this isn't just competition. It's a direct challenge to SpaceX's dominance. CEO Dave Limp confirmed that total thrust on the booster increases from 3.9 million pounds, force to 4.5 million. The upper stage thrust climbs from 320,000 to 400,000 pounds force. That puts the upgraded New Glenn at roughly 70 tons to LEO in expendable configuration, about 20 tons to lunar transfer orbit, and 14 tons directly to geostationary orbit. On paper, it's still only about one-third as powerful as Starship. Yet Blue Origin isn't trying to beat Starship on raw numbers alone. They're building something strategically different. What's their real angle here? The scale comparison tells an interesting story. Dave Limp posted an image showing New Glenn 9x4 standing next to the Saturn V, the Apollo-era legend at 110 meters tall. New Glenn towers over it. While Blue Origin hasn't officially released the exact height, visual comparisons suggest this rocket stands somewhere between 120 and 123 meters when fully stacked. That's only about a meter shorter than Starship V3, and the payload fairing expands beyond 8.7 meters in diameter. This makes it one of the largest commercial launch vehicles ever constructed, giving customers the freedom to launch massive satellites that take advantage of nearly the entire rocket diameter. Blue Origin has already confirmed that their Mk2 lunar lander was specifically designed to fly fully unfolded inside this fairing. No folding legs, no complicated mechanisms like the first version that had to squeeze into the old 7-meter fairing. Just clean, simple integration with room to spare. This puts New Glenn in direct competition with Starship's 9-meter fairing for ultra-wide payloads, giving customers two heavy lift options and reducing dependency on a single provider. But when actual customers sit down to choose a launch provider, what matters most? Capability or cost? The economics tell a revealing story. Based on SpaceX's published pricing, launching a 3-ton rover to Mars on Starship costs roughly $300 million per flight. New Glenn would charge about 1.5 times that while delivering nearly half the payload capacity. For purely commercial decisions, the math seems straightforward. Yet Blue Origin isn't betting on price alone. They're betting on reliability, availability, and the value of having a proven alternative when launch schedules get tight. Reusability drives Blue Origin's entire redesign philosophy. The first stage and payload fairing of the 9x4 will both fly multiple times. The booster features an upgraded heat shield with next-generation tiles and backup thermal protection layers designed to minimize refurbishment between flights. Thanks to iterative design work already proven on the 7x2 variant, the 9x4 can be developed faster and flown more frequently. Blue Origin targets launch costs below $220 million per flight, less than 1/10 of NASA's $2.2 billion SLS. While the upper stage remains expendable, it's being redesigned with simpler, cheaper structures to slash production costs. Does this aggressive cost strategy give them the edge they need to stay competitive long-term? Performance improvements extend beyond just adding engines. The 9x4 second stage is significantly lengthened for greater propellant capacity. Following SpaceX's lead, Blue Origin is adopting subcooled cryogenic propellants to increase fuel density and boost engine efficiency. These aren't flashy changes, but they compound into meaningful performance gains that close the gap with Starship in practical mission profiles. The real philosophical divide shows up in engine count, and it reveals everything about how each company thinks about risk. Starship V3 flies with 39 Raptor engines total, 33 on Super Heavy, 6 on the upper stage. New Glenn 9x4 uses just 13 engines, 9 BE4s on the first stage, 4 BE3Us on the second. That's not just a numbers difference, it represents two completely opposite approaches to modern rocket engineering. SpaceX follows what Elon Musk calls a many small engines philosophy. The argument is simple. Engine count doesn't create complexity, it creates resilience. With 33 engines on the booster, Starship can lose 3 to 5 engines during ascent and still complete the mission. We've seen this in test flights where multiple Raptors shut down and the flight software automatically compensated. Beyond redundancy, high engine count enables rapid iteration and mass production. Each Raptor is smaller and easier to manufacture than one giant engine, letting SpaceX build hundreds annually with costs dropping as volume scales. The architecture becomes extremely flexible. SpaceX can scale thrust simply by adding or removing engines, enabling different Starship variants for Earth, Moon, or Mars missions without redesigning the whole system. Can this approach truly deliver the reliability needed for crewed missions? Blue Origin takes the opposite path. Fewer, larger engines minimize potential failure points through a more conservative strategy that emphasizes the durability and proven reliability of each individual engine rather than redundancy through quantity. It's the approach that built the space industry. Test exhaustively, fly confidently, iterate carefully. Both philosophies have merit, and the real test comes down to execution. Behind New Glenn's technical evolution stands a leadership transformation that's reshaping Blue Origin's entire culture. When Jeff Bezos brought Dave Limp over from Amazon in 2023, it wasn't just a personnel change, it was a strategic intervention. Blue Origin had the money, the talent, and the ambition, but the company had grown slow despite billions in annual funding. At Amazon, Limp oversaw global logistics networks and AI-driven robotics, handling millions of packages daily. That kind of industrial discipline is exactly what Blue Origin needed to compete with SpaceX's development pace. Under Limp's leadership, Blue Origin has embraced Amazon-style principles. Scale fast, scale smart, tighten every workflow. Instead of building a handful of test vehicles, the company is developing capacity to produce and launch rockets in higher volume and more reliably. Industrial expansion, tighter timelines, and accountability now define the approach. New Glenn, New Shepard, Blue Ring, the lunar lander, these represent a company translating its resources into results. The question isn't whether Blue Origin can build impressive hardware anymore, it's whether they can do it fast enough to matter in a market where SpaceX keeps moving the goalposts. So where does this leave us? Blue Origin's New Glenn 9x4 represents the most serious challenge SpaceX has faced in the heavy lift market. With 9 engines, expanded payload capacity, and a height that nearly matches Starship, it's no longer just about catching up. It's about offering a genuine alternative. The upgraded version targets 70 tons to LEO, features an 8.7-meter fairing that can accommodate fully unfolded spacecraft, and aims for launch costs below $220 million. Those aren't small achievements for a company that many had written off as too slow to compete. But here's the reality check. Starship Phi-3 still delivers nearly 3 times the payload capacity at a lower cost per launch. The 39-engine configuration provides redundancy that Blue Origin's 13-engine design simply can't match. SpaceX's production rate, flight cadence, and iterative testing approach continue to set the pace for the entire industry. While New Glenn 9x4 is impressive, it's competing with where Starship is today, not where it'll be in 2026 when both rockets are operational. Yet that's exactly why this competition matters. Dave Limp's leadership has injected Amazon-style efficiency into Blue Origin, transforming it from a well-funded dream into a company that ships hardware and hits timelines. Customers now have options, which drives innovation on both sides. SpaceX benefits from having a competitor that forces them to stay sharp. The space industry benefits from having 2 American heavy lift providers instead of 1. The real question isn't whether New Glenn can beat Starship on paper. It's whether Blue Origin can execute fast enough to capture market share before SpaceX's lead becomes insurmountable. Based on what we've seen, they're finally moving in the right direction. Whether that's fast enough remains to be seen. What do you think? Can New Glenn's 9x4 configuration carve out its own place in the market? Or is SpaceX's lead already too large to overcome? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown valuable, hit that like button and share it with anyone following the new space race. And if you want to stay updated on every major development in spaceflight, subscribe to New Space Review and turn on notifications. We're tracking this competition closely, and the next few years are going to be absolutely critical. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.